morning. Welcome to the Forum TTA. Yes, thank you for the birthday celebration. That was really, really fun. What TTA do, what our expertise is, we help the local startup to ship to the global market and connect to the world. And we help people from around the world, the talents, the technologies, they come back to the startup-friendly environment, Taiwan. That's what we do. But today, we got more things to share with you. We like to show you the trend. What is next? You might have the technology, but what is the trend in the future? Simply, what is in the future? So in the morning, the forum, we have a subject, it's called Bring IC-Driven Innovation to the Forefront of 21st Century Industrial Evolution. Now, let's welcome our keynote speaker. He's going to present you innovation driven by IC design and industrial trend, presented by Senior Director of Strategic Technology Explosion Platform of MediaTek， 建议掌声欢迎联发科技前瞻技术平台资深处长 Dr. 梁博松。
好，各位产业先进，大家好哈。那今天呢，我在这里很荣幸呢，跟大家分享一些关于 IC 设计创新的趋势以及那个产业发展趋势。那为什么台湾现在目前的话，在半导体科技上面的话，会如此先进呢？那这未来是怎么走到这条路？而且未来的话会怎么走？好，那我今天的主题在这里。首先呢，第一个，现在目前的话，主要的各种的科技创新，其实背后都有的 IC。而这里面的主要功能都是由 IC design 来 define 的，所以这个里面我们看到 IC 使用在 AI、在太空科技、在金融科技、Metaverse 车用，好，那然后 Education、Medical， 好，那以及农用，甚至呢最重要就是我们的手机使用，各方面的一部分的话，后面都是由 IC 科技来支持的。而在这里面的话，其实事实上的话，其实台湾最强的不只是 IC， 是整个的电子供应链都做得非常好。所以我们来看一下，光是一颗 IC， 事实上在这边走了很多过程。首先在左边的话有 Foundry， 有制造端，由 TSMC 来制作出微晶圆，然后像是有日月光来做分割以后，然后来做出 IC dial， 然后再做封装，然后呢最后呢就有的 IC 像是联发科做出了 IC 以后，然后再放到主机板里面去。你看它在主机板里面的话，下面是一个手机的主机板，在这里面的话，联发科不只有主要的那个 application processor， 还有各种的 RFIC 跟 PMIC IC， 好，那由这些部分的话，由 OEM、OBM 的话来组成各种设备，包括手机、平板，然后呢 Chromebook 电视各样设备，然后用在各种 service 上面。而在这个 business 有多大呢？其实事实上的话， IC 怎么样驱动创新的这条经济呢？我们来看一张图就知道了。首先，这个是全世界的半导体产业的部分。我们可以看到，在1990年左右的话，全世界半导体产业的话才51个 billion 美金而已。OK， 然后呢，在很快的，大概在2022年，去年的话，已经到了602个 billion 了。哦，1 billion 美金就相当于3000亿台币。好，所以事实上是一个非常非常大的数字。那602个 billion 以后，在这30年的话，它就从51个 billion 到602个 billion 的话，成长几乎10倍以上。那台湾就跟着这个趋势往前走。那未来呢，会继续成长吗？会的，有越来越多的媒体在估计，在2030年左右的话，应该会到1 trillion， 就是1000 billion 的这个 size。所以这个地方跟着它成长，跟着全世界的趋势成长，台湾在里面有很重要的角色。而在这里面的话，我们可以看到说，另外 IC 呢是一个非常具有高杠杆价值的一个技术。我们看一下，在这整个产业链的时候，我们这里画一个倒三角形。好，那这个倒三角形的话，为什么呢？因为它的宽度代表了产业应用，然后越下面的话，好像看起来比较窄，但是却是承载起一切的枢纽。我们看到说 ，IC 事实上是承载在下面的话，它的business 虽然好像不是很大，抽是600 billion。但是呢，全世界 ICT 大概5000多个 billion 的生意的话，事实上是由这个下面的 global IC semiconductor 所承载的。而在里面有 IC design、有 foundry、IDM 以及各种 equipment 的角色。OK， 好，那这个 高杠杆价值至少在9倍到10倍以上杠杆价值的时候，我们可以看到说，现在是600 billion， 未来如果在1 trillion 的时候，外面上面杠杆的话也是接近9倍到10倍以上，所以说事实上可能到时候全世界大概是好几个 trillion 以上的生意这样子。那在这里面的话，对台湾来讲的话，其实台湾的科技产业跟着 IC 是息息相关。我们不只是 IC 起来，我们看到上面的第一个轴线，从以前的我们大概从 IC 发明，但是在1970年代、80年代的时候，台湾就开始进入了 IC 的生产以及设计，然后呢一直往前走。这个时候也搭上了整个在 computing 产业，从 PC 转到 PC 加 Internet 加 Smartphone 加 Mobile Internet 跟 AI 加 IoT 的趋势。那然后在通讯的部分呢，更是搭上了从那个手机通讯，从1G、2G、3G、4G、5G， 一直现在目前要朝向6G 发展的一个大趋势。好，那台湾就从这个地方的话，台湾变成一个科技岛。好，这边是一个很关键的角色。而在这里面的话的整个崛起的话，我们可以看到说，台湾在一开始可能从1976年那时候 license 技术进来以后，后来从工研院电子所1977年那时候开始设置实验工厂。然后新竹科技园区创立在1980年，好，对，这边国科会的长官在这里，对，是非常重要。然后后来的话，包括说 spin off UMC， 那 TSMC 创立，那 CIC 那时候开始培育人才，现在叫 TSRI， 那一直到 MediaTek 创立，这个让台湾的 IC 设计产业能够奠基起来。而为什么我们台湾能够抓这个机会？其实大家回头想想看，台湾呢事实上是一个很小的岛屿。在全世界，为什么我们能够这个角色呢？其实我们抓到一个关键地方，就是 IC 设计由 IDM 整合的部分。左边 IDM 就是 IC 设计跟生产制造在同一个工厂、同一个公司里面，但是开始分工了，分工成 Foundry 制造 IC， 就是的像 TSMC、UMC 这样公司，以及 Fabless IC Design House 的这个大趋势。而这大趋势，我们看一下这张图就更清楚了。这张图的话，其实事实上有一个关键哈，这张图代表了什么意思呢？是全世界的 IC 产值里面属于 Fabless IC Design House 的部分，也就是说，你可以说100%。在之前，举个例子，在1990年、1980年那个时代的时候，那时候全世界的所有的 IC 制造都是 IDM 整合型制造，只有接近0% 是属于分工制造的。那然后呢，这个红色的 bar 代表了分工占的比例。那台湾呢？你看，开始开发 IC 的时候，包括像是台积电创作开始设立的时候，1987年的时候，对不对？那时候全世界也只有0.2% 的 IC business 来自于分工部分，但是那时候台湾就开始进入这市场了。所以后来看到那个 UMC 创立 ，TSMC 创立，然后后来那个 UMC spin off 出来，让 MediaTek 出来，1997年的时候，那时候全世界分工已经到了5.9% 了。OK， 这个时候你可以发现到说，其实事实上全世界的这种由 IDM 整合一直到分工的趋势，事实上台湾是完全跟着这趋势在走，甚至可以说是领导这个潮流。因为有了台湾，让这个分工能够做更好。而在这里面，我们看到说，其实事实上一些很重要的公司，台湾非常的公司，包括联发科、联咏、瑞昱，都是那个时候就已经出来了。那更后面的话，我们发现到说，这个趋势会越来越明显。刚才只是看到2000年以前，现在如果我们把整个从1980年到现在2021、22年的时候吧，我们看一下，从原本的分工的趋势，由0%现在成长到35%，也可以说全世界的 IC 里面有1/3是来自于这种分工的趋势所制造出来的 IC。那用这个趋势做制造 IC 的话，台湾因为一开始就在这里面，所以说我们才能占有这么大的角色。所以我们才说，为什么台湾是一个小岛？那为什么能够在全世界的半导体产业里面占一席之地？是因为我们抓住了趋势，跟着它一起起来的。OK， 所以是有这个历史的因素。那然后呢，在这里面的话，我们可以看到说，这全世界半导体的结构这个抱歉，这资料是2020年不是很新，但是我们还是可以看出结构来。在全世界半导体的产值里面的话，那美国占最多，而目前台湾是占第2左右。而这里面的话，我们特别把它分出垂直分工跟对不起，垂直分工跟垂直整合策略，下面是 IDM， 而上面是 IC Design 跟 Foundry 的部分。而这里面我们可以看到说，在垂直分工跟垂直整合里面的话， 分工里面其实上占比较大的比例，事实上是来自于 IC design。好，那这 IC design 的地方的话，其实上美国占的是最多，但是有几 percent， 而台湾呢，之前是22%，现在有稍微有点往下掉了这样子。那目前呢，在制造部分的话，晶圆代工跟 IC 封测基本上都是世界 No.1 的部分。但相对的，你可以看到说，在整个产业链里面的话，它的地方是稍微小一点点这样子。OK， 好，那另外呢，台湾呢在 IDM 部分的话，可能就比较，因为我们走的是上面这条路，所以下面这条路的话，台湾占的部分可能只有2%，大概只有61亿美元左右而已。所以从这里的话，我们就发现到台湾的结构大概是这样子。而这里面的话，我们会发现到说，台湾在制造端已经很成熟，而接下来继续往下努力的，其实事实上就是在 IC 设计端有更多的努力的空间。OK， 那在这里的话，我们来讲一下台湾的 IC 设计产业。台湾的 IC 设计产业从以前到现在的话，大概从1990年的话，那时候只有大概59亿台币左右而已。然后呢，大概每5年左右的话，就一路翻倍上来。那在最近的话，这几年从2020年到2022年，光是3年之后就跳了1.6倍，所以很快的已经成长到1兆元产值的产业。大家想想看，其实这非常不容易。其实事实上的话，台湾的大部分的 IC design 公司，很多都是来自于本土成长的。好，那本土成长这 Scratch 在全世界这么高科技的竞争之下的话，这 Scratch 成长这些公司，事实上是非常珍贵的。那在这里面的话，进到1兆元以上产值的时候，对不对？我们再继续往下看，其实事实上的话，这是全世界 global favorite IC design house。好，在过去10年的话，过去20年的像2003年是20年前的时候的排名，一直到现在，其实事实上你会发现到说，好像里面的名单都差不多这样子。好，因为事实上这是一个非常非常大的竞争，而这里面的话，画橘色的部分的话，则是台湾的 IC design house。所以这个地方的话，台湾 IC design house 事实上是很早以前就开始在里面占有很大一席之地。好，那在这里面的话，我们再继续，但是呢，光是看这张图，看起来好像没什么变化。但是如果说我们把这 revenue 制成图的话，就会发现到说，哇，这个竞争是非常非常激烈的。我们刚才一样的表，我们把它做成图。那 Y 轴呢是它的所谓的 revenue 年营收 revenue， 你可以看到说，在这边的话，我特别把联发科的橘色画出来。虽然说大家觉得说，联发科过去这几年好像是做得不错，但是问题是，你也看到说全世界都在成长，所以在这里面的话，其实上在 IC design 部分的话，台湾不能松懈，因为呢全世界都在成长，而这里面的话会大者恒大，好，所以说这个地方我们要继续往前努力。而这里面的话，下面的话，包括在对岸中国大陆那边的话，也有微生米也进来的。那也当然了，那他们之前是那个嘛并购另外一家美国公司所导致的，但是也表示说他们开始进入在这榜内了。那另外呢，在台湾 IC design 的部分的话，还是有一个很重要的部分，是说我们目前还是比较太着重在 logic 部分。这样讲好了，在所有的 IC design 里面的话，每个次领域，举个例子，第一个左边那个领域的话是 mobile phone。mobile phone 的话里面呢有 logic 的部分，有 memory 的部分，以及 discrete 的部分，我们叫 DAO，discrete analog and optical electronics 的部分。那在这里面的话 ，logic 部分的话，占整个手机里面的话是28%。OK， 那在这里面的话，在台湾呢，这个在手机端的 logic 部分的话，事实上是做得不错。OK， 然后呢，另外就是在消费性电子跟 PC 产业里面的话，台湾都占有一席之地。那在这边的话，稍微画一下斜线，这个是一个示意图，表示台湾那边可能占了一个比较多的角色。但是相对的，台湾其实上在 enterprise infrastructure 还有 industrial 跟 automotive 部分的话，事实上并没有琢磨很多。那另外呢，在 memory 那一块，以及在 discrete analog 跟 optical electronics 部分的话，其实琢磨不多。所以我们可以发现到，事实上台湾在 IC 上面的话，还有很多很多的地方是可以往前走的。OK， 好，那但是呢，在未来我们可以看到说，在 IC 发展上的话，有越来越多的 challenge。第一个 challenge 就是技术的难度提高了。首先，我们来看一下哈，一样设计一颗 IC， 在1971年的时候，那时候一颗微控制器 Intel 4004的话，它里面的 transistor number 只有2000多颗 transistor 而已。OK， 但是呢，现在呢，一个 IC 复杂度复杂到什么程度呢？像联发科出了那个什么的手机晶片，好4奈米的手机晶片， 那里面的今天电机体数目已经到了170亿颗以上了，而里面呢有8颗 CPU， 一大堆 GPU， 还有 AI processor， 还有什么 camera 那个5G 的 modem， 好，那还有 WiFi 啊，什么 GPS 一大堆的东西，通通都挤在这里面，所以这设计上会越来越困难。OK， 那不止如此，我们来看一下，在未来的 technology 上面的话，如果说光是一个单项 technology 来讲，光是 mobile 来看的话，光是 mobile 的 modem 的 gate 抗数的话的成长，已经是非常非常惊人的程度。我们就以联发科，假如说是以2G 时代的那个时候的 gate 抗数来看起来的话，到了5G 时代的 gate 抗数 millimeter wave 的话，大概已经到240倍的那个 gate 抗数了。但是在未来的6G 呢，可能会成长到2000倍的 gate 抗数，所以这个设计是越来越困难。而这个地方的话，不只是在手机端的 mobile 部分，可能 WiFi 啊，那什么 AI 各方面的话，都是一样的成长，所以事实上是越来越困难的地方。那另外呢，在 IC 设计上面的话，它难度也越来越高。在以前，我只要方选能正确就好了。然后大概在1990年到2000年的时候，那时候那个热效应它也重视，所以说重点是要怎么样散热，好，以减少 low power， 再变成 low power。那然后接下来呢，那个 SoC 的 reliability， 以及现在目前的2.5D、3D 封装的话，它的各种 thermal 啊，以及各种系统 level 的设计的话，越来越精致。所以说这个时候我们设计一颗 IC， 与其说是设计单颗晶片，不如说我们在设计一整个系统。所以说难度是越来越高。那也因此的话，现在目前的话的先进制程在设计上面的时候，会遇到个情形，在以前的时候，65奈米2006年的时候，你设计一颗晶片，你的工程师的人力投入的话，大概是在28.5个 million 左右，大概9亿台币左右。然后呢，大概在2015年那时候的话，16奈米，你大概工程师的部分，你大概花34亿台币。而现在呢，到2020年的话，如果你设计5奈米的晶片的话，大概就要花到173亿台币左右，就542个 million。那你542 million 是什么意思呢？举个例子好了，如果你做出一个手机晶片，那你的手机晶片只能卖100万颗，就1 million 的话，表示你每一颗 IC 上面要摊工程师的费用，要摊542块美金，好，大概16000多块台币。那事实上是非常贵的。所以这个时候的话，一种各种共通平台、software 各方面的话，就变得非常非常重要。OK， 好，那然后在硬体、软体部分的话，其实事实上的话，这个地方也导致一些问题，就是说呢，在台积电我们有全世界最先进的制程，但是呢，在 IC 设计端的话，大部分的是这种先进制程的使用的话，台湾却反而用的比较少。哦，那这个可能是我们必须要努力的地方。目前台积电最先进的制程，可能是美国一个好，那甚至呢，可能甚至一些不受限制的中国大陆的公司会来使用，而台湾这边相对用比较少，这是我们要特别注意的。OK， 那当然少数公司像联发科我们有做到，但是其他公司我们希望整体产业能够做起来。而在这里更重要一个问题就是说，世界人才的竞争，因为刚才我们在讲说设计一个 IC 的时候，当然是软体、硬体都需要。那但是呢，我们看一下美国，这是美国的一个状态哈。美国呢，在过去的时候，在做 EECS 这部分的话，在以前的话的 Double E 的部分的话的人是几乎是100%。你看1954年的时候，100%都是那个嘛 Double E 的人，而 Computer Science 的人大概软体人大概只有就接近0%。但是呢，如果你现在放到现在来看的话，在美国校园里面的话，大概呢那个 Double E 的人只占可能不到10%，可能到5%的人学 Double E。而90%以上的人都是学 computer science 软体的，好，所以说呢，这部分的话，在美国那边就造成一个人才的缺乏。那这边点的话还好，台湾比较没有，因为台湾的话，在长久以来的话，我们在 Double E 跟 computer science 上面的话，都算是一个比较均衡的状态。所以说，在台湾的话的 IC 这边能够发展得很好，事实上是一个很大的关键啊。那但是美国它可能是会去吸引那个国外的移民留学什么之类的。来做这些事情 ，OK。那这里面的话，我们来看一下，在台湾的 IC 设计业的话，现在全台湾的半导体业的人大概是32.3万人左右，而里面的5.2万人是 IC 设计业的人。而这里面的人，其实上有一个很大的关键，就是说，其实事实上，在整个半导体产业里面的话，这是素质比较高的，或者说比较专业的人。怎么说呢？我们把 IC 设计、IC 制造跟 IC 封测的人 把它摊开来看，在这里面的话 ，IC 设计里面的人的话，他大概几乎全部都是大学以上，而里面有接近69%是硕博士。OK， 那然后呢，如果是在他学的那个专业部分的话，那大概有52%是电子电机，18%是资讯，可以说也接近70%左右是电子电机资讯的人。那这个部分的话，尤其在制造端以及在封测端，可能他还不需要那么多人。所以说呢，其实事实上，在 IC 设计是在各个半导体产业链里面最需要最先进的人，而且最专业的 Double E 跟资讯的人这样子。那但是呢，这个时候的话也提出一个警讯哈，这个是那个欧盟那边的报告哈，然后呢，在今年的那个 ICC 里面的话哈，在 Keynote Speaker 的话被特别引出来，在讲说他在预估在未来 STEAM 的人才，好，这个科技理工数学的人才里面的话，以欧盟27国，好，中国大陆、美国、南韩跟台湾来看的话，其实发现到说，在各个国家它的都努力在 STEAM 在增长，但是呢，在欧盟他们那边的预估啊，却发现说，唯一这些地区啊，唯一下降的是台湾，好，所以这个可能这是一个警讯。我们就要在人才培养上要注意这些部分。好，那说完这部分的话，最后呢，我用这个简单的这张图做总结哈。就基本上的话，台湾的科技的发展，事实上有赖于 IC 设计、IC 制造跟系统技术来三足鼎立的。哦，台湾目前的话，在 IC 制造上面的话做得非常好。我们有台积电，我们有日月光，好，我们有 UMC， 所以我们在制造方面做得非常好。那但是呢，如果说我们要鼎立的话，更重要的是 IC 设计，因为是 IC 设计是设计出整个电子系统里面的function，啊，你要它什么function，事实上是 IC 设计来做决定的。我们可以决定一个是手机，或是未来的 AI function里面的话是怎么样做，是从 IC 设计里面来的。另外再搭配我们很强的我们 ICT 厂商的 IC 系统技术，把它做成各种的 device。好，那要这三足鼎立的话，台湾在这半导体上面的话才能够稳固。好，那我们希望说在各位的话共同努力之下啊，我们一起往前 push， 支持台湾的科技发展和经济繁荣。好，今天演讲到这里，好，谢谢。
Thank you, Dr. Lung, for sharing your expertise. 那 Dr. Lung， 你待会不会参与我们的 panel discussion 嘛？对不对？我可以邀请你站在这边跟大家拍个合照吗？对不起，一个很怂的要求，但是许处长，我们一起来跟大家拍个照。Let's take a picture with everybody。
谢谢。
转过来。
拍好啊，好。
那摄影大哥，我们上台拍好不好？上台拍啊，好。
来。
太棒了。
好。
Can I borrow a $5 from you? Like 5, 5th year anniversary? Thank you. 谢谢。
哦，真的，谢谢。
Thank you, Dr. Lung, for sharing your expertise to everybody. 谢谢，也谢谢曲处长 and TTA staff. Thank you, 谢谢. Now you know the trend, and now we're going to show you how to unlock the innovation and pay through the hyperscale cloud and AI for the IC industry. Presents you by Worldwide Public Sector CDO of Microsoft. Give it up to Mr. Greg Wilson.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm delighted to be here, particularly to share the birthday of TTA, an organization that's done so much for the ecosystem and is recognized globally. So I am the global CTO for the government sector and worldwide public sector of Microsoft. Actually based in UK, but because of how much we view what TTA do in Dove, I'm delighted to have flown in last night to join the conference and also meet some customers and partners as we go on. So what I intend to talk about is really what the ecosystem does and how we are looking at Microsoft and about what we need our semiconductors to do and the IC to driving technology from a government lens and a public sector lens. Because actually, I don't need to say this in Taiwan, technical nation, but it's driving the way we work and live. But it's the innovation that we are now seeing as a result of a lot of the technological changes, particularly around AI, that I think is driving what the semiconductor industry will need to do in the future to keep pace. And how does that happen in the supply chain? What does it mean for startups that we're going to discuss in the panel later? Because everybody is expecting a standard now, whether they're using it on their phone to do some of the stuff you can see, they're working from home in technology, they're buying, they're operating, the functionality goes through there. So it's not just about semiconductors. For us, it's about what does it mean to the user, what does it mean to the customers go forward with the massive change that we're seeing in the ecosystem. Because actually, it's going to be about cloud-native apps as we go forward, we believe. The number that we can see there on the screen that were developed by 2023. And customers and companies are expecting unique expectations from the standards of capabilities that are being delivered. And therefore, the semiconductor, something so small, has such a massive impact. So large. And yet it's the point at the bottom. Customers are now expecting to use AI to improve their experiences, increase their productivity, get better insights, quicker time to market, faster innovation. So AI, for me, is changing the world. And this is not just generative AI, it's the cognitive services, machine learning, and the development that's going forward. Yes, the hype has been in the last few months around Gen AI, but actually, we've had machine learning and other forms of AI for the last few years, and we've learned a lot from it. But I think there is no going back from generative AI as we go forward. And therefore, with that growth of large language models, what it means for the data centers in Microsoft and the upgrading that we're having to do for our GPUs, and that impact around the world, is that relationship of the ecosystem of semiconductors and everything that it touches, from the Internet of Things to the sensors to your phones and where you go forward. So for me, the opportunity is great for the ecosystem, and that's why I think the work that TTA is doing to set Taiwan on a global stage is superb. So when we look at the artificial intelligence, though, from a government perspective, what I'm saying, if you want AI transformation, if you want to discuss generative AI, if you want to discuss all the new technology opportunities, robotics, etc., then actually in the public sector, what we're seeing is some of them are lagging on their digital transformation journeys. Some of them have a cloud-first policy, some of them talk about technology, but a lot of it is still on-premise data centers and not thinking about exploiting the cloud. The use of large language models. This is not big data, this is massive data. Yeah? How do we do that? And therefore, the conversations that we're having with governments generally starts, hey, we'll have some AI, please, and ends up, let's talk about the cloud. And how do we enable that? And how do we take people through in digital transformations so they can truly do an AI transformation going forward? Because without it, I worry that public sectors will get left behind. And therefore, my role as a global CTO is to speak to countries around the world and try and help them on that digital transformation journey to exploit the capabilities of AI. Because they're happening now. Some governments are using the capabilities with us in the co-pilot, and we definitely talk about our AI as co-pilot. It's there to augment the human, help them make the decisions quicker, faster with the productivity. So if I have one point to governments is, this is not a time to just discuss and debate. This is a time for action. Don't get left behind in the AI journey because it will, affect your bottom line. Okay? So as we go forward, we talk about the cloud. And what Microsoft has been doing to help with that is driving around how we improve our infrastructure. And I talked about the upgrades of the GPUs to get the storage, the compute, the processing power that is required to deliver AI on the scale that we do. But with the security that's underpinning it, with trust, and therefore how do we do that protection? But then able to drive that innovation through the data and the applications, be it in modern work and business applications going forward. And therefore, what we're doing in Microsoft, and we like to think we're leading quite a bit on the AI era, and under Satya, Our mission really is to how do we empower people and organizations better to achieve what they want to do. But actually for us, that is really pertinent to the public sector. And how do we help them accelerate public sector productivity? Whether that's health, in education, in policing, in justice, yeah, in critical infrastructure, in national transportation. All those industries require the ability to be driven forward by public sector. And how can we help AI with our productivities built in, or using our tools and capabilities, working with partners and other organizations, how do we help them embed AI and their technology into our services to deliver the productivity they want? Because this is what we're seeing from governments at the moment, and therefore this is the opportunities for the semiconductor industry. And where are they going to deliver this? How do they deliver that ecosystem? Take stuff and deliver it to more than one industry. How are they going to deliver the innovation into the programs and experiences of the citizen and the services they want? And at the same time, using the technology to fully empower government workforces, make things quicker, faster, more productive, focused, instead of just collecting data, but actually analyzing data and getting the insights for it. And therefore, the big focus really from us is the third one of how do we transform government operations and services? And that's using the capabilities to actually transform not just the technology, but what's it mean for the people and their skills? What's it mean for the business processes and proper digital transformation as opposed to just technology adoption as we go forward? And then it's only by doing that will we help governments to solve society's biggest challenges. And as a part of that, that's why we need the IC community to work with us. And a lot of the work we've been doing with Microsoft and the IC community is to develop that, and I'll come on to it in a bit. But underpinning it, of course, in the public sector, it goes back to what I said earlier, is trust. And how do we secure government data and protect resources? And this is generally the conversations we're having in governments around data residency, sovereignty of data, data sovereignty. Yeah, where are the borders going? Yeah, where's the cyber protection? Whose authorities and who's responsible? So a lot of this actually is not new. This is governance of data. Well, we take the governance of data in the public sector, and now we talk about governance of AI and ethical AI. And again, that's something I'll come on to in the future in this presentation. But those are our four high-level ones. But what are we seeing in AI from trends in government? This is all about new ways of engaging people, and people are doing it now. You know, my parents, my grandparents, they've been using ChatGPT, things like that. The technology's there, people are understanding it. How are we engaging it? What information is it there for the employees and the people? Yes, generative AI is key and the hype and topical at the moment, but it's more than that. As we go forward in governments, it's how do we explain this AI? Yeah? How is it transparent? Do we know what the processes are doing with it? Do we know what the biases are? How have we trained the models? And then a big one, and this links across to the semiconductor industry, is we need to deliver sustainable AI. And therefore, what is the sustainability? How do we achieve the sustainability goals of government and support the governments going forward when we are generating large AI models? Therefore, a lot of work in how we are taking forward our processing and compute power in our data centers is by 2025 to ensure that all our data centers will be powered by renewable energy around the world. Quite a few of them are already. It's the fallback options that are the last bit that we need to address on the power failure side. But by 2025, we will be fully renewable. But then again, that relies on some of our semiconductors. And how do we do that technology in the renewable space as well, and the powering? Because ultimately, what we're seeing from government trends is how do they leverage AI-driven data insights in the cloud? And a simple example of this, we're seeing in the justice and also in the social services sector. Speaking to people from social services and justice, one of the biggest problems is backlog of cases. How do we address the backlog of cases and go through that? Just by putting them through some of the AI tools, then actually we've been able to drive down the case workloads. being able to get a synthesized context of what each of the issues are in a case, and therefore it's then given to the caseworker to make that decision with some recommendations. Remember, it's a co-pilot for us. It's not replacing the human at this stage. It's advising them as they go forward. So there's where we're seeing real-time things that are making real impacts around the world in governments, local governments, social services for children, health professionals, and obviously police forces around the world. And therefore, what we're seeing at the stage of governments now is top-down seniors are working about policy. They're thinking about how do we govern this? Do we need to put regulation in place, etc.? And we're having those discussions with them because actually, if we're designing the tech as a group, then how can we expect government to fully understand it if they're not involved in the design? And therefore, this is about partnership between industry, public sector, and academia in what are the right rules and policies that need to be put in place. So a lot of our time is spent in governments having those conversations to be able to drive smart innovation and automation that is coming from the bottom up. So from the top down, we're having policy discussions, and from the shop floor, people are using technology, thinking about how to make it more productive, how does it make their day-to-day better, and what processes can be automated in order to optimize employee time and skills. And yes, we are reskilling. I always get asked, is AI going to take people's jobs? My answer to that is, I don't think so, but I'll tell you what will take your job, a person who understands AI if you don't understand AI as you go forward. And therefore, how do we do that skilling and taking forward? Yeah, and we don't need big technical understanding. There's new language skills. So I can do AI with English programming, and it can do it for me. So how are we thinking about what the skills are required as we go forward in order to do that process improvement and business decision making? But I do underpin all this is based on security and trust and our responsibility to AI that I'll come onto in the future on that. And therefore, wrapped in the cloud, Microsoft Cloud, big focus on our security wrappers and how we take things forward. Because actually, when you look at the use cases and where each of these would apply technologies in there, content creation and design is key. People are doing it. You can take meetings. You can turn it into PowerPoint. How do you accelerate automation? Language translations, millions of different languages around the world can be done. We're also seeing, particularly in public finance, etc., fraud detection software now, picking up anomalies, training it with regards to what is compliance in different countries, and trying to get those differences there. And also looking forward on predictive analytics and forecasting and trends. What is the trend for this? Typed in, it gives you the answer. What trends are you seeing? And you can change it. So the generative AI stuff is helping people be more productive. Not quite for governments, but personalized marketing for government departments in terms of how are they pitching directly to people that are relevant to them, senior citizens, children, etc. But I think if you looked at one of the biggest asks that we're seeing in governments at the moment around generative AI is the virtual assistant and chatbots. Lots of people are wanting them to be able to engage people with. So what that means from filling in forms to actually having that virtual agent, power agent chat going forward. That and case management is probably the two largest asks that we're seeing from governments around the world. It's all about saving time, making staff more productive, and giving the services to the citizens as they go forward. And that is driving a product and service innovation on there. And we're seeing quite a bit now in generative AI in the medical research and diagnosis, etc., how we look at x-rays, maybe some of the work in cancer going forward. So these use cases are growing, and we're building on them each time. But those are what we would see globally as the top 10 at the moment. But what about semiconductors? Yeah? Who's using generative AI in their processes? The advances in semiconductor industry, the new materials, the startup impact. How do you make up for some of the skills gaps, and how they're going to do that if we can use AI to assist them? Where can that supply chain be automated better with more insights, etc., going forward? And obviously, we are seeing government regulations and policies, incentives to drive semiconductor, the CHIP Act, etc., from the US. So there's those advances in technology, and where does it fit in? Particularly in addressing some of the skill gaps. Lots of tech workers, but not many AI workers. So how do you use that to go forward around the world? And then in the technology innovation, whilst I've talked about the cloud, the edge and edge capabilities, IoT, wearable devices, vehicles, smart sensors, buildings, etc., all that now beginning to come in and requiring technical innovation. And how can we use AI to work in a more secure, trusted collaboration of a partnership with industry, academia, and the public sector. And as we begin to move forward, mixed reality. Yeah, I think it's amazing that we were able to have engineers wearing HoloLenses in NASA speaking to people on the space station to engineer devices that they required done, or into Africa for medical situations. How are we using those technologies go forward, and the metaverse and the industrial metaverse in the future? So when you look at where we're going to adapt, how are you going to change your processes to keep current, get the competitive edge, and ensure that you remain at the front of your competitors as the industry grows? And for us, a lot of the work we're doing in Microsoft is around R&D. So how do we do scalable silicon designs in the cloud? This is about the cloud and how we drive that forward. How do we create secure collaboration environments and the workbenches and the tools that you can pay to go, develop, and do your capabilities in? At the same time, ensuring there is a secure and resilient supply chain of whatever is being designed. And that's very much our focus of some of the work and some of the procurements that you will have heard Microsoft done at the beginning of the year. And how do we address it, particularly with startups? Because when we're looking at accelerating innovation in engineering and design, people are now thinking about their data and how they bring it together. We're seeing, particularly in the public sector, a lot of data rationalization of their data centers, stuff going to the cloud, more hybrid, thinking about how they do bursts from on-prem into hybrid in the cloud. And what does that mean, therefore, for the capabilities and speed to market and product introduction? That's the same for all industries going forward. How do we using simulation to test and evolve capabilities as you go forward to reduce R&D costs, particularly around things like digital twins or using the digital thread approach? And then really, with the model we're having now in a global thing, design and engineer anywhere. And where those can be done in the design iteration, people using the global time zones to be able to do more and more and bounce it from team to team in order to drive innovation impact with high performance compute. And particularly as we go forward and we look to the future of new technologies like 5G, 6G still being worked on, quantum capabilities that are already been there. And what does that mean for the IC industry? So certainly this is innovation, design, and pace. Because actually, for us, it's about connecting it all together. How do you connect the products, the sensors, the services, the data, other devices, when you're doing manufacturing and engineering, to get the asset of product awareness? Use things like digital twins to simulate, visualize the product of these. Use cognitive services, AI services, and business intelligence to drive those insights. And make sure that you get the innovative insights to move forward in real time as much as possible, as well as ensuring your supply chain, your manufacturing, your quality performance is the best that it can be. And therefore, whilst we talk about using digital twins a lot, our focus with a lot of our customers and a lot of governments is talking about the digital thread and taking that approach further forward. How do you get the data insights? How do you get the design authority? How do you think about this end-to-end in the capabilities as we develop? So I think there's great opportunity. I think AI is forcing the pace as we go forward. And therefore, how the industry changes and keeps up is the real responsibility for all of us in the room. But it doesn't come without some risk. Everybody talks about ethical AI or responsible AI in Microsoft's case. So what I would say is beholden on the industry, and Microsoft have been involved in the AI journey from way back, from 2016, of how we think about responsible AI. Because it is beholden on big tech and all tech companies developing these capabilities in AI and what they can be used for. And therefore, we have established our AI principles of how we go forward, how we discuss regulations, the work we've just released last month before, on the blueprint for AI governance in discussions with organizations such as the EU. And how do we take that responsibility forward? Because actually, our view is that we need to be trusted, and governments will be trusted by their citizens. And therefore, actually, what does it mean that you're doing with your AI in terms of ensuring fairness in the algorithms? Transparency of what those AI decisions are doing. Who is accountable for those? Because accountability is key. And where is inclusiveness for the decisions? So are you designing something that can be used and accessible by everybody with compliance to the privacy and security required, the reliability and safety? So Microsoft analyzes everything on our principles. We have internal mechanisms to work out which use cases we will develop and take forward based on these principles and the internal governance. But what we will say, and we are very clear on, that whilst we are using AI for our customers and for you, your data is your data, and we will not use it to tune our models. Okay? It's not used to use the foundational models. If you wish to use your data on your models, you use it yourselves. Your data is then protected, what I would argue is the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls. And that's not Microsoft's controls. Those are the controls that you put in place and the compliances and regulations for the country that you come from. And we comply with those. Anything from the US, Taiwan, UK, Europe, etc., Australia. Okay? Everybody asks that. And I think that's important as we go forward with the ethical AI debate and what it means as we develop technology together in terms of responsible AI and the capabilities. So for me, I think it's an exciting time for the semiconductor industry. I think the world is changing with AI. The opportunities are changing. All industries will change. And therefore, to organizations like this one here, TTA, bringing that ecosystem together, well, that ecosystem is global, I would argue. And I think the approach to drive what you're doing here and Taiwan Rising, and happy birthday, I think is amazing. And I look forward with working with companies and organizations in Taiwan to be able to ensure that we can deliver as a community what's required, because ultimately it's about the citizen and ensuring the governments can do the best for those citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Greg Wilson, for your amazing presentation. Now we'd like to invite you to take a picture with everybody. Along with Xu Zhang, she invited you here. Let's take a picture for our Facebook page. Thank you very much. Stay right here, Greg. And now, everybody, can I borrow $5 from you? Thanks.
Thank you very much.
$5. Thank you. 5th year birthday, TTA. Looking good. 谢谢. Now for the IG reel. Hello. Wave into the camera. Talk about Facebook. Yes, we are live right now on Facebook and YouTube of TTA. We currently have 1,000 plus viewers live right now watching our show. Now, it's time for the panel discussion. We're gonna spend a little time to make sure you feel like home here. So we'll borrow some furniture from IKEA. No, actually we'll borrow from Grand Hyatt Taipei to set up for you. The topic for our panel discussion, do a little chatting on the trend and know-how, will be the opportunities and challenges for industry for IC Startup Corporation. First of all, let's welcome the moderator, Senior VP of Industrial Technology Research Institute, Mr. Stephen Xu. And of course, our previous amazing presenter, Mr. Greg Wilson from Microsoft. You could take a seat. 你可以先坐，谢谢 Thank you. Grab a seat. Coordinator of Research Funding and Corporate Strategy of AVL, Mr. Rainer John. President of Ancora Semiconductor, Xin Taigang, Mr. Xin Taigang. Partner of MediaTek Capital, Shen Weining. CEO of Phithia Biotech, Sun Weilun. Welcome. So before we start, shall we take a picture together? We should have your company logo ready for you. Yes. Look to the camera, right in the middle. One, two, three, smile. Make some noise, everybody. Now I'm going to pass the time to the moderator. Steven, the party is yours.
All right. Director General Dr. Xu, and also our distinguished panelists and our guests of honors, very much happy and feel the energy from Dennis and the group having this 5-year anniversary for the TTA. And next, we, although the time is very short, shortened a little bit, but we are honored to have following Greg Wilson and also Senior Director Dr. Liang's keynote speech, we have 4 more panelists joining us. And so without further ado, we will first have the first round of 5 minutes each from our 4 panelists. Going back to the topic of this forum, we are going to talk about opportunities and challenges of industry in relationship to IC-driven types of startups. So first, Rainer John from AVL, he's in charge of coordinator for research allocation for corporate strategy. Okay, go ahead, Rainer.
So my name is Rainer, so I'm very proud to be in Taiwan. I like the entrepreneurial spirit in this country. It's really great. And the people who catch the opportunities. And we have seen a very interesting speech about the development of the ICT industry in Taiwan, starting from scratch 50 years ago, and now it's really blooming in the world. Very important part. I will take a look out of the mobility industry. AVL is working for the big OEMs. We are a design company in terms of propulsion systems. We are looking into ADAS. We are looking in testing the car. We're looking into the mobility. And our CEO tells us we owe it to the planet. That means sustainability. Sustainability needs information technologies. It needs efficiency technologies. Efficiency is based on all electric cars. It's the technologies, gallium nitride, silicon carbide. It's the information technologies to get the car in the traffic, to make all the things which are needed to make the car safe, to see into technologies which gives us sustainability. And I'm really thankful for Greg's introduction and the speech of Mr. Liang, looking at the value chain, bringing benefits to the global value chains from the ICT industries, from all the processes we need to understand in the car itself, to get it efficient, to get it safe, to see the topics, how to interact in the traffic, to come to a layer where the government is involved in terms of traffic planning, in terms of how to understand the needs of the people in terms of mobility, and how can we support this by understanding the real processes in the power conversion. Mobility means power conversion. You need to drive around. It's not anymore the way to fossil fuels. It's the way to electrical propulsion systems. It's the way to automated driving. It's the way to get a car, a product which is human-friendly. Human-friendly is a trend around the world. So that means we need to develop those technologies which make applications human-friendly. And this is the way on the application level to AI. And what Grex tells us, it's the level of the government, it's the level of the administration, it's the level of data of a virtual world. And we need to come from the ground level, understanding the processes in the car itself, nanoscale, microscale processes in the batteries, the anodes, the cathodes, the H2 technologies, and all this stuff needs sensors. It needs arbitration. It needs the AI to understand this world. Bring it to the next level, to the driver. Let the driver understand how he can interact with the car, how he can drive the car, how he get it safe in the traffic. Do all this planning up to a level where we use it as a planning in a virtual world. Where do we go? How fast can we go? How safe can we go? How efficient can we go? What is the fastest way for us? To make it as a part in the society. And mobility interacts with the infrastructure, with charging, with the energy, and it will be a combined world of the ecosystems. The ecosystems grow together. And that's the point of the ICT on every level. That's the level of the intelligence we bring in, and that's the level of how we treat and how these things treat us and we treat the system. We will interact. That's the new world, and welcome to this future, the benefits, and especially Taiwan is a driver behind this. Thank you very much.
All right, let's give Rainer a big hand. Yeah, Rainer also spent many years in Taiwan, and particularly with Siemens Automation before. So he spoke of this mobility ecosystem. Thank you. Next, we would have General Manager Xin from Ancora Semiconductor. That is a spin-off of Delta Electronics. And I'm happy to say that Dr. Xin, many years ago, also spent some time with ITRI. Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tai Kang Xin. Ancora is a spin-off, like Dr. Shu said, from the Data Electronics. Data Electronics is probably is the worst solution power supply for more than 15 years. I think that for the power electronics, everyone knows the Taiwan actually dominated the world market. However, just Dr. Liang said, for the IC, the fabric model still most on the logical side, not on the analog side. We hope that our model, probably the first step Taiwan can copy the successful example of the logical fabric design house and into the power chip, the model. The current collaboration for the Ancora Semiconductor is we already have some ongoing and potential collaboration with power system in IT and the data center, for example, like our parent company, Data Electronics, and some other company in switching power supply. Through this collaboration, I think original topic is how we leverage the collaboration. I think for the Ancora, we need to know the best and the future power trend. And also for the power, we can hear the customer voice to know the real needs to deny the cutting edge the chip. That's through the collaboration. For the power system like Delta, I think right now we all have different kind of power chip from the, for example, silicon and the IGBT thin carbide just mentioned, and the gallium nitride. Ancora is focusing on the gallium nitride through the collaboration with TSMC right now. Our parent company and our customer can evaluate both different technology to see how can we help them to optimize the power system and make the best power density and reduce the carbon footprint. I think the collaboration could help both sides to make the best product in the future. So I think the future collaboration will be more on the help both sides to get the best technology to make the best product in the future. I think that's my conclusion.
Okay, let's give Dr. Shen a big hand. Thank you. Thank you. I think in the past 30 or 40 years, as Dr. Liang has mentioned in his keynote speech today, many is about low power consumption. But I think in the future, even in many applications, the EV, the AV, for example, we are looking into the high power consumption type of application as well. Yes. All right. Next, our panelist is from MediaTek Capital, and also MediaTek Venture partner. Shen is a long-time expert in making a lot of deals. And today, Dennis showed like, give me $5, right? He has more than $5 to share with how investment can be combined with IC startup and enabling industry development. Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be here. I'm Wei Shen from MediaTek Capital. I think my colleague, Dr. Liang, already gave us a high-level briefing regarding my parent company, MediaTek. That is the largest fabless design house in Asia, not only in Taiwan, but also in Asia. We gotta look at it globally. So, well, also, as just mentioned, I'm honored to be here to celebrate the 5th anniversary of TTA. And thank you for the support from NSTC, not only to TTA, but also to MediaTek and also the whole ecosystem. So I think in the past, MediaTek Capital has been quite actively invested in semiconductor supply chain for more than 15 years. And well, I would say that with all the experience that we had, that we would like to echo the what Mr. Wu mentioned in the beginning in the opening speech, that the next generation, the next mega trend that we see over here is also generative AI. So does Greg mention in his presentation. So talking about those kind of frictions and everything that the startup might meet during developing, or say to align with the mega trend, we will consider that there were several things that we would like to share with all the startups here. One is definitely be flexible, and two, definitely start aiming high and start smart. The reason why we say that the aiming high is that getting into a generative AI application is not that easy. As Dr. Liang also mentioned that all the application now is mostly on the cloud side. So the cost of expense to create a silicon to accommodate that kind of feature will cost you, well, an arm and a leg, literally. So that will be a significant impact on the financial side. So we will encourage the design service design startup to work smartly and also closely together with the established suppliers such as MediaTek and our companions. I'm sorry. And well, aiming high, start smart, be flexible, and also build up the barrier. So with all the technology, the most important thing for a startup is the technology essence of it. So we will understand. We will say that building up the barrier to compete with some others will be definitely the need of that. And well, just like all the speakers mentioned, that we do have in Taiwan, we do have a huge ecosystem on the semiconductor. Not only huge, but also complete. So with 2 hour travel, that you can complete everything. So how you gonna utilize all the ecosystem, all the advantage over here, that which will be enable your success in the future. So in short, I would say, one, to work with the utilize the ecosystem, not only on the manufacturing side, but also on the established IC design ecosystem. That will be the one key point. Two is that being humble, being flexible to work with a large corporate. That will be able to bring you to the success more easily. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's give Dr. Shen a big hand. Yes. Next, we will have Dr. Sun, co-founder and CEO of PITHIA. And PITHIA is a very interesting startup combining microfluids and also the pulmonary oncology, making the drug selection innovative process. And also, she is one of the alumni of TTA startups. So please tell us how you combine these two very interesting domains and become a startup.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Weilun Sun. I'm the CEO from PCI Biotech. And thank you for inviting me here, and thank you for the supporting from NSTC. PCI Biotech, we make organ on chip. We aim to provide a safe and accurate experience for personalized medicine. And of course, that's our ultimate goal. So we aim really high. Organ on chip is employed with the microfluidic technology. And that's, we use part of the semiconductor process, which is photolithography. But what is also important is we combined with stem cell technology, and we use autologous cells to make organoid and to culture in this 3D environment. So the microfluidic system we make emulate the partial and the physical environment, and you can test the drugs outside of the human body. So, and luckily, because of the subject, we selected as the top 12 and last year in the Medica as a healthcare innovation World Cup. Especially why we started now, and it's a good timing because in 2019, the European Union already decided how to make the standardization of how you should develop the organ on chip together. This is important. And then also later in 2022, the FDA Modernization Act, they also said that we should use the alternative, like we should reduce the use of animals in the future. So both of the important countries like European Union and America, they decided in 2050 we shouldn't use any experimental animals. That's also the goal for PCI Biotech. And so we started from some important organ like liver, lung, and we are going to develop heart and chip, and we're also going to develop the kidney. So the ultimate goal for PCI Biotech is to make a human on chip. It's also really high. Yes, but we are a startup, so we have a really ambitious goal. Also because of this goal, we have an opportunity to work together with Merck. So probably that's why I'm invited to here, that we signed a collaboration, that MOU with Merck in June. So that's all. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
All right, let's give Dr. Sun a big hand. Yeah. As this is the day for the 5-year anniversary for TTA, as you hear from Dr. Sun, not only in Taiwan we talk about AI on chip, her company talks about organ on chip. And you just mentioned you want to make human on chip.
Yes, yeah, we started with the lung because our co-founder, Professor Gang Yuanli, he is a key opinion leader in oncology. And he proposed we should make the test environment for the patient when they face that there's no standard procedure which you can treat the patient. Then we have an environment you can treat outside the body. Then the patient doesn't have to suffer from the systematic burden. And this technique, we also work together with the Professor Chen Xianliu from National Tsinghua University. And he owned the technology from the microfluidics device already more than 20 years. So I only mentioned to make the 3D cell culture environment, but actually we also going to combine with the sensor and also optical device to analyze the cells.
Okay, very good. So just mark this day. You heard it from here. Okay, from
Thank you.
TTA 5-year anniversary. In the next round, we would, because we talk about human and Senior Director Dr. Liang talked about in Taiwan that we do see a decreasing sign in the STEM graduates. So human capital is the only capital that would appreciate, while the other capital might depreciate. So in our second round, we would like to have Greg to start off in talking about what you see as Taiwan's opportunity and also challenges. Although we have time very short, but we have 3 to 5 minutes that for each of us. So please let us hear what your view in terms of Taiwan's IC startup opportunities and challenges to help the industry, not just in Taiwan, but globally. And Microsoft has been a long time customer, partner, and investor in Taiwan. Your turn, please.
Thank you. I think I would start that the talent issue in tech is always there, and I think it's quite competitive, and that is a concern for startups in particular in terms of how much people get paid and the opportunities they have. So I think in that it's looking at how we can do investments, and this is where the government angle comes in as well, and I think it's great what Taiwan is doing and TTA as well to try and help the startup community, and that's what we're seeing globally as well, and how they do the startups. Invariably, though, it's the procurement process as well for the startups as they go forward, and how they are required to get onto government frameworks, I think is sometimes a hurdle and a challenge for them, because they have to go through so much bureaucracy, and therefore that's where we try and help certainly our startup partners in how they can go forward in that. In terms of the skilling, I mentioned it in how we go forward with AI, and where can we automate? Where do we actually need the skills, and how do we train? But it does start at schools, and how do you take schools and develop them with the technology, the computer science skills? It's interesting to see the graph that we saw on the first presentation of computer science skills growing in compared to electrical engineering. That's certainly not the case globally. And trying to get youngsters to go into the computer science area is a challenge at times. I think the burst of AI, I think what people are seeing with results to the opportunities and the tools are helping drive that forward and beginning to hopefully give us an upturn. But obviously the demographics are such that we are seeing less and less in some countries to be addressed. And therefore, it goes back to really, as we heard from down the end, how do we do R&D? How do we take the technology forward to make those jumps that we need to address, particularly if we've got a shortfall? How do we help our startups with the budgets and the costs and getting through the regulations as well? And I think, and then there's just wider development that needs to be discussed in making sure supply chains are there. And when the startup goes beyond the 2-year point, how we can help them going forward. And I think that there, by making the startups more and more successful, will begin to address the STEM issues that we're seeing globally. But it's not an easy challenge. It's not a quick fix, but it must be a priority for governments.
All right, thank you. You have worked in security for a long time. Just very quick comment. Do you think AI helps security, or weaken security?
So certainly what we're finding, I think there's always, in the approach that we would mention, every time you develop a shield, someone will try and turn it into a sword. I think for AI, there is definitely development, but people will try to do it for nefarious activities that we would not condone, and I think that's where the responsible AI and the governance and the policy comes in to how we can ensure that we get it for the best outcomes possible. In terms of security, to me, it's similar to the data and how do we protect data, how do we protect our AI, and understand the transparency of the technologies and the biases, et cetera, to go forward. But what we're seeing, for example, in security, so the Microsoft Security Copilot is helping the skills gap in cybersecurity, for example. It is being able to reverse engineer some coding from the attacks and identify patterns and themes and be able to get the more routine jobs going forward. It goes back to the point that a lot of software developers as well are using things like GitHub Copilot. That's not because the AI is doing the coding for them, it's doing that repeatable pattern and trying to make sure the coding is tested and going forward. So for me, there is definitely an opportunity for security to be enhanced through AI.
All right, thank you, Greg. Let's save our applause for later. Okay, back to you, Rainer, with your background from Germany and also time spent in Taiwan. What do you think of Taiwan's collaboration and opportunities and challenges?
Okay, that's the reason to be here is together with ITRI, looking deep in R&D topics, and the first thing which comes to my mind is Taiwan gets things done. So if you are here, there is a task and the things will be done. If you work with people, they are curious, they are entrepreneurial, and if you ask, will you manage it? Then they say yes, and they do it. So I think the attitude is one of the points. Curiosity and open-minded is the second point. I think what you said about the human on a chip, if you heard this, for me it was first time. I never took we put the human on a chip, on a wafer, we cut them, but Imi, I think she is laughing about it, but the idea is great. The points when quantum sensoring comes in and we start to measure the EV potential of the nerves, so that means something in the femto area, which is now a topic we look in the mobility industry. We would like to understand the nano and micro scale systems in a better way. That means for us, it's power conversion, it's fuel cells, all the stuff behind. It's in the same size. To have something to understand the signals, the signal processing, the AI unit, and even to bring it up from deep edge to the high level of attention in the society, in the virtual world where we have the planning, where we have all these processes with the government who like to understand it. And even here, the open-minded ministries, the authorities, and the deep skill of the people. If you get this morning the idea of the speech, you see this man really understand what he says and how he shapes the strategies all together with you. This is a real huge benefit for our country. So I think one of the reasons to be here. And the other thing, to have this curiosity, I think to say, okay, we have a cell, we can measure it, we can understand what does it mean, what does this nanoscalic system means, and we can understand it by means of the semiconductor industry. We need laser, we need photonics, we need CMOS, we need analog measurements to integrate such things like quantum sensors. This is a real thing happening now in Europe. It's going forward. But with this kind of application, it will provide synergies. And synergy is the key and the applications behind to get the technologies, the information technologies, to get the AI in, but get it together with the things we have from industries which is deep in the nanoscalic cosmos. So I think it's enough to say, and I'm very proud and happy to be here to share with you.
All right, thank you, Rainer. Next, we would have General Manager Dr. Shen, and with your very rich experience from Delta Electronics and new job with Ankara Semiconductor, what's your view on Taiwan's opportunity and challenges?
Thanks, Dr. Su. I think probably I can share some experience on the change. Even we are a spin-off from Data Electronics, but we are developing a new type of the power chip, gallium nitride. It's new, it's very costly, and without enough reliable data. So even our colleagues are asking, why should I use your device? So that's my way to try to promoting our chip. The first one is because it's costly, so we try to find the one with the real failure. For example, the gallium nitride can operate in with very high frequency. So the power density and will be the key failure preparation for the power system. So that's the way power systems people should adopt it. The second one is education, because they don't have enough knowledge compared to the past silicon device or the silicon carbide. So you need to have a lot of interaction with them to learn from each other. The third one about reliability, we actually do a lot of tests on that to convince them we can operate for a long time. I think the last one is also very important. We need to develop a total solution for them to help them to mind the gap, to adopt the system. To help your customer is actually help yourself to promote the product. That's my experience sharing. Thanks.
All right, thank you for your sharing, General Manager Shen. Next, we would have MediaTek Capital partner, Shen. Yes, yep. Go ahead.
I think Taiwan itself is de facto the world leader on the semiconductor manufacturing and design. So down the road, I believe that I also encourage all the staff here, not only domestically, but also global ones coming to Taiwan, to utilize the advantage that we have to take up the opportunity for the next generation IC design. So, well, that's that would say that's the advantage of the say the opportunity of the staff over here. But we will, during the expansion or say over the path of the journey towards success, there will be a lot of challenges you will see. So just like TK mentioned, that there are a lot of challenges, even though they have blessed by their parent company and also other notable investors. You still see a lot of challenges on the way. So in that portion, probably I would like to share a little bit regarding how we gonna how the staff can face on that. One is still say be flexible. Well, the flexible here, well, we would say that Taiwan is a center for hardware. So I think everyone's blame or say the mindset shouldn't be so hard, should be soft as well. Should be flexible. Those kind of flexibility could not only just in your product design or say your business plan, but also including the business model and the partners that you are working with, trying to be more flexible. And we would like to, and the other thing I would like to mention is that for Taiwanese staff, we would like to encourage you to be brave, to join the accelerator and to join with the some other event with TTA and some other organizations. I know that TTA has brought a lot of stops to CES, to London Tech Week, to Viva Tech in Paris. So I will also I do encourage every stop to join the trip with them to see the world, Since over here that I myself is either not a like a native speaker for English, but trying to be brave to communicate with the world, to communicate with everyone outside. You will get more inputs. And the third one, definitely like be humble. Since Taiwan is a small island, so the domestic market is not really your target. So just step up the island, step up the world to see the world, and to learn from the rest of the enterprise or their successful story, which will definitely fuel you up for the growth of the company. So I believe that's what I would like to share with everyone here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wei-Ling. Since he gives some advice to our startups to be brave and to be moving forward with innovation, technology, etc. Can we see a show of hands on the audience here? We have over 1,200 audience on internet right now, but on the net right now. But just for the people here, if you are the startups or if you are the VCs, please raise your hand. Let's see a show of hands. Okay, we see some groups over there in the front. All right, let's give them a big one of big hands. Thank you for being with us. Yes. All right, so I believe, Wei-Ling, you used to invest in big companies. Now you see a lot of startups here, right?
No, actually, we are venture capital. So basically, we invest a lot of startups.
Yes, okay, all right. Oh, they invested in your company? Oh, no?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay, all right. Yeah, 2 multiples at least, right? Okay, back to you, CEO Sun, yes.
I to correct something because it's not the logo from PTI.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
we owe you one then, yeah. Okay.
Because the logo should be the goddess. PTI is a goddess. She delivered the message from Apollo.
Okay, go ahead. What are our opportunities and challenges for IC-related startup? Your microfluids must have IC in part of that design, or it's in the system?
Yes, there are actually a lot of technology problems we have to solve. How we integrate with the sensors and how we can make it smaller and make like array test, like you can test more in one microchip. So there are a lot of technology problems we have to solve, but also it's like a convergence. We incorporate with other technology. For example, like AI, we already incorporate with our optical device. And also we like to collaborate with the AIoT technology. But this all take time and money, so we also need some funding to support this project. And also, as you mentioned, the important thing is like how we should let the world see us, because the technology in Taiwan is really high and advanced. But the problem is that nobody sees us, and most of the VC they don't understand this technology. So for them, it will be like difficult. Like how can I see the future for your organ on chip? We don't know it. But they should pay attention to it's a trend in the world. Like for the drug development or for the personalized clinical test, it's important. So it's probably like the IC semiconductor in 20 years ago. People be like, I don't know, and I'm afraid to invest in you, but I think it's the time.
If I'm not mistaken, this PTI is your second startup?
It's my first startup.
First startup, okay. So that must be the other profile. So you mentioned, because in TTA we try to help the startup company from Taiwan also going global, go scale in the future. But we also invite international accelerators coming over here, bonding with us, and also in the future, maybe soft landing from other country startups as well. But in your case, you just mentioned it's not easy to be seen, right? And what is your experience in terms of how to overcoming that challenges, how to leverage the resources in Taiwan or elsewhere?
Of course, last year we were luckily selected by NSTC to join the Medica in Düsseldorf, and that's the first time we were exposed in the media. And second time we were helped by Merck. We signed MOU together, and so we also have a news release, but I think it's just locally. But I guess the language barriers is a problem, and also our personality probably. But the important things like next year we're going to join more bio, for example, like US Bio or London Tech to show our technology, and to also to prove to the VC that we are able to do this. And although we are a really small company, we just started from last November, and we get a patent transfer to the company in June. So we just only work only for a few months. But with all the help from the government and from for example, the ITRT Institute, that we grow up really fast. We are lucky with all the help.
Right, we are very lucky to be able to help you. Yeah, so Dr. Sun has mentioned that with Medica recognition and also with the signing of the MOU from Merck, this really marks the big milestone for them. All right, so without further ado, we are coming towards the end of the panel. I just want to give a last chance for you to give one sentence encouragement to all the startups from TTA in the past 5 years, but giving them your encouragement for the future going forward. Either from the global perspective or from the linkage with Taiwan. Yes, starting from you, Greg.
I admire what you do. I think the opportunity is there. Despite the tough times, keep going and you'll get the rewards.
Keep going. All right, thank you. Let's thank Greg. All right, Rainer.
Maybe to...
microphone.
Okay, does it work?
Yes.
Maybe to give you a little bit an idea about COVID. Ideas are like COVID. So spread your ideas. Don't limit yourself on the country, on the size of your country. It's not a little island, so you can go everywhere with your ideas. Do it.
All right, do it. Spread your ideas. Maybe better than COVID. Okay. All right. All right. General Manager.
There are always challenges, but we always say keep going.
Keep going again. Okay. All right. Yes. Waiting.
I think to grow from my alma mater, which is the USC, they are share the word fight on. So like a Trojan warrior to fight on. Thank you.
All right, the Trojan from USC. We know that. Okay. All right, Dr. Sun.
I think important to have an open mind and you collaborate with all partners, have a good trust in each other. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Without opening to the Q&A to all of you, because the time is short, we save more time for lunch discussion, and also we have afternoon's panel again. Just very quickly touch upon what we have discussed about IC-driven startup collaboration. I just want to use Dr. Sun's because she's the only female here. We need more for the startups. She has mentioned organ on chip and also human on chip. We just want to re-emphasize the theme of today is, what is it? IC shining, right? Taiwan rising. From Taiwan, we are not rising above the rest of the world. We want to rise with the rest of the world. We want to be seen. We want to be your best partner working, whether it's on sustainability, on mobility, or on all kinds of industrial innovation, including services, agriculture, etc. Very much so that we welcome and also appreciate your partnership with us, whether it's from Taiwan for years of investment here, or our new friends from global. And thank you again for joining this morning's panel discussion. And thanks NSTC, Dr. Xu and the group working together to make this happen. Thank you again, and let's make this the happiest anniversary ever for TTA. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Amazing job. Now we're inviting Xu Cuzang up to stage and take picture with our panelists. And since we don't have a Q&A, but you could grab them individually and you could chat privately through the lunch to ask your questions. And that will be all for our morning section. And if you are looking for food, yes, we got food for you. If you got a batch, there is a lunchbox waiting for you outside. You can take it to go and go shopping, or you come back here and have your lunch here. A 5. Thank you. Good job, Stephen. Thank you, Gray, Reiner. Thank you, Mr. Shen, Mr. Xing, and Dr. Sun. And that will be all for our morning forum. And as the lunch break, our afternoon forum will be starting at 1:30 this afternoon. So you have about 90 minutes to walk around in the shopping block, which is next door. ATT for fun. You could go to Taipei 101. And if you're hungry, we do have a lunchbox for you. Have your badge, show your badge, and you could have your lunchbox. You could take it to go or have it here, or you could do a private chatting with the panelists. I'm Dennis. I'll see you at 1:30. Don't forget to share our live link to your friends, family, and colleagues. And we are live on TTA Facebook page and the YouTube channel.